Florida League of Cities presents FLC live at the Capitol Week 7. This weekly video update provides highlights of key legislative activities and showcases the League's advocacy in action. City officials from Lynn Haven, Freeport, White Springs, Sunrise, and Titusville came to Tallahassee to meet with legislators and advocate on behalf of their cities and the League's legislative agenda. The Florida League of Cities thanks each of them for their advocacy efforts.
The mandates are not only like pension reform, but it's in water, wastewater. We're all getting hit with this stuff.
Now, on to developing legislative issues. Municipal, police, and firefighter pension reform gained little ground last week. Committee substitute for House Bill 1399 by Representative Patrick Rooney was scheduled to be heard in the House Appropriations Committee, but the bill was not considered. Unfortunately, this does not mean committee substitute for House Bill 1399 is dead for the session. Rather, committee substitute for House Bill 1399 could be withdrawn from the committee and moved directly to the House floor for consideration. Or, because committee substitute for Senate Bill 458 has passed the Senate, it could be heard on the House floor as well. In its current form, the League does not support these bills because they lock in the 1999 level of benefits and allow the legislature to dictate pension benefit levels for cities rather than allowing cities and police fire unions to collectively bargain pension benefit levels. Many cities provided unsustainably high pension benefit levels in 1999. To keep existing plans sustainable, sound, and secure for current and future police and fire, cities must have the flexibility to negotiate a sustainable benefit level. The bill, as passed, prevents this from occurring. Both bills also remove from law the statutory basis for the current Department of Management Services interpretation on the use of insurance premium tax revenues. The current DMS interpretation provides cities and police fire unions for the first time since 1999 with the needed flexibility to collectively bargain pension benefit levels and use of insurance premium tax revenues for these benefits. Rather, as noted above, the bill now requires cities to maintain the unsustainable level of pension bills provided by the city in 1999. While the bill contains a narrow grandfather provision for cities operating in reliance on the current DMS interpretation, the bill effectively repeals the interpretation. Therefore, no new letters could be issued, and the current letters would no longer be effective after a date certain not to exceed 3 years. These bills do not represent meaningful pension reform, but rather a victory for police and fire unions. Due to the action by the Senate, the League is in opposition to both bills and urges you to contact your legislators to oppose the bills. Committee substitute for House Bill 203 by Representative Beshears passed the House by a vote of 113-3 and was sent to the Senate for action by that body. This bill preempts municipalities from passing any duplicative ordinance, resolution, or rule affecting a bona fide agricultural operation and also preempts municipalities from assessing any fee on such agricultural land. The League opposes this bill. Committee substitute for Senate Bill 1684 by Senator Thad Altman passed the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on General Government and is now in the Senate Appropriations Committee. In addition to a host of regulatory streamlining issues, this bill amends existing law relating to municipal review of development permits and clarifies that a water management district is the only entity that is authorized to grant a license for the construction, repair, or abandonment of water wells. The League supports this bill. Committee substitute for House Bill 85 by Representative Greg Stubbe passed the House Appropriations Committee and is now in the House State Affairs Committee. This bill provides a framework that local governments must follow when reviewing bids for public-private partnership agreements, including unsolicited bids. A PPP is a contractual agreement formed between a public agency and a private sector entity that allows for greater private sector participation in the delivery and financing of public building and infrastructure projects. By requiring the framework outlined in this legislation for the adoption of PPP agreements, cities will lose the flexibility they currently have when reviewing and entering into PPP agreements. The League opposes this bill. Senate Bill 1852 by Senate Appropriations passed the Senate Appropriations Committee and is awaiting a final vote on the Senate floor. This proposed committee bill allocates $200 million from the National Foreclosure Settlement, in which the state was a party to a national lawsuit against 5 of the nation's largest banks who committed foreclosure abuses. Senate Bill 1852, unlike its House companion, allocates $70 million from the $200 million to fund the State Housing Initiatives Partnership, while also including funding for the State Apartment Incentive Loan Program program, funding to combat homelessness, state courts, and the Attorney General's office. The League supports the SHIP funding language in Senate Bill 1852. The League will continue to encourage cities to adopt a resolution supporting common sense pension reforms that safeguard local pensions and protect taxpayers. Draft resolutions are available on the League's website in the Pension Reform Toolkit. If your city develops a position on the pension reform bills, please provide this information to Craig Kahn via email at kcon@flcities.com. For additional information on municipal issues, call the League office, read the legislative bulletin, or visit our website at www.flcities.com. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of FLC Live at the Capitol. Remember, successful advocacy starts with you.